Let's talk tech, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome. Today, we're going to talk about electric motorsport. We're going to talk about Formula E. Our team, Audi Sport Abt Scheffler, is a founding member of Formula E, winner of the first ever E-Prix in Beijing 2014, winner of the Drivers' Championship 2017, and Teams Champion 2018. And now, after just 6 years of a journey, this series becomes an official World Championship by FIA. For us, reason enough to kickstart the new season with an Audi Tech Talk. First, we're going to present the new car, the Audi e-tron FE07. We're going to have a look under the carbon fiber and we'll present the new drivetrain, especially the new centerpiece, the Audi MGU05. And as a first ever, we have a Tech Talk without guests on stage. Due to the growing numbers of the corona pandemic, we decided to avoid unnecessary risks, leave everybody at home, and have a virtual Tech Talk only. This means that Lucas and Alan will be in Monaco, and Tristan Summerscale and Stefan Eicher, our guys from technology side, are in the workshop at the Audi Sport headquarters in Neuburg an der Donau. So let's get started, fasten the seatbelts, and have a look back at the journey so far, 6 years of Formula E.
We go green in Beijing, and they make contact! A dramatic end to the race.
We're getting close, we're getting close!
Oh, and it's all kicking off here!
I cannot believe it!
He hit him! I don't believe it! Renault are the champions! Who's going to get a good start?
Come on! Thank you very much.
What a drive! Rear wing's gone.
Oh, bird in the wall! We are the champions!
Oh, it's into the back of him! John-Eric Byrne, champion! It's zero! The Grassy wins!
I love you guys!
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Jeff. We have done it again.
Flat out, flat out.
Oh, but what's going to happen here?
Superb drive.
Antonio Felix da Costa, the champion of Formula E.
I'm lost for words, man.
What a journey. 6 years from a startup to an official FIA World Championship. And we're now going to talk with two guys who really live motorsport. We're going to talk with Alan McNish, team principal of our Formula E team. He's a motorsport legend, 3-time Le Mans winner, former Formula 1 driver, 32 years in motorsport, and he really knows the business from both sides. So the driver's seat on the one hand, but on the other side, TV commentator, team principal, FIA official. And we're going to talk with Lucas Di Grassi. He is our electric man at Audi. He's a race driver. He's the winner of the first ever E-Prix of Formula E. He's a Formula E champion. He's a United Nations ambassador for clean air and an electric mobility entrepreneur. Thank you for joining, guys. Alan, we're going to start with you. And to start this Tech Talk, we're going to talk a little bit on a bigger level, I would say. Motorsport and Audi. Why is racing so important for us?
Hi, Daniel. Hi, everybody. Yeah, motorsport's been at the heart of Audi. It's part of the DNA of the company. The company principally differentiates itself because it is technical excellence. And that's been right back from the beginning in the Audi Quattro rallying times. You remember the development of Quattro systems. Or when we maybe moved forward a little bit further from there, went into racing in the USA, and then ultimately DTM with four-wheel drive, and super touring with front-wheel drive. The messages are always the same. Le Mans, then we were into other things, and ultimately the hybrid systems and laser lights, and now ultimately we've gone forward into full electric and Formula E. And so therefore it's always been at the heart of what we do, is we race on whatever surface it may be, push to the absolute maximum as people, but also as technology, and then that filters through, and it's on the cars that Lucas and I drive every day on the road, and also everybody else at home as well.
And Formula E, and especially electric motorsport, that's the place to be for us at the moment in racing. How would you describe the journey over the last 6 years?
The last 6 years have been incredible. First of all, the pace of change in the world is much quicker than I think any of us expected. But you really have to be like a good racing car, agile, but at the same time, you've got to give confidence to the driver themselves. And that's what we found in Formula E. We found a championship that is very agile. We race in the heart of the cities. We're able to demonstrate and develop our technologies. We're able to also do it with a message, something that's very important, not just as us as people, but also as Audi as a company. And so from that perspective, it has been a very fast change in the way that we look at racing, but also the way we look at developing racing cars. And that's something that I think everybody has really bought into, and it's part of the future of what we are doing as Audi as a company as well.
And racing was always more. It was a reason. It was the idea to develop new technologies and to push the adoption of new technologies. If we're talking now about Formula E and electric racing, how would you say the customer can benefit from you guys racing on track around the world?
Well, fundamentally, I think we are trying to develop the next generation of technologies, the things that are going to help us, the things that are going to make our driving pleasure either faster, better, safer, or more efficient. And certainly with the electric technology that we are finding now, with the technical hardware and software, it's the efficiencies that we're making so many gains with. And one part of that, maybe as an example, is brake-by-wire, a system that was developed on the racing circuit, but I use every day in my e-tron, which was the first battery electric vehicle that had brake-by-wire as standard. And so Lucas effectively is developing the technology on the racing track that I am going to use to drive home.
So coming from the team principal to the most successful Formula E driver in terms of points and trophies, Luca, thank you for joining today. How would you as a driver describe this journey in Formula E?
Hello, Daniel. Hello to everyone watching us right now. Formula E has been an incredible journey. In 2012, I was the third employee. I was together with Alejandro Agag when the concept of Formula E came along in FIA, and nobody really believed that electric would have such a big impact in motorsport and in the road car. But the technology, everything evolved very fast. So for me, I've seen the technology evolving from two cars, kind of a weak battery, to something which was much more efficient, a single battery, much faster cars, incredible speeds. And for me, it was an honor to win the first ever race of Formula E and to have won the championship and to have helped Audi to win the championship in season 4. So I could not have expected anything like this when I started this journey.
And Formula E has also news next to the racetrack. It's the first sport to become CO2 neutral since inception. So for you as a driver, but also as a United Nations ambassador, how important are those kinds of messages for you personally?
Well, electric vehicles are so important right now because of to improve the quality of air, to improve the gases that causes the heating of the atmosphere, the climate change. So offsetting historically all the carbon was fundamental to Formula E to prove their point. Formula E was created also to promote sustainability in its core. And the Formula E, by doing that, has been the first ever sport that offset it historically. And it's super important that other sports follow the same trend, so we have a better, cleaner world for the future.
World Championship is the key word. And now it's time to present the race car for this exciting challenge, the Audi e-tron FE07. Everything started with a single-spec car in the first season in 2014. Big changes were made by the team to win the Drivers' Championship in Season 3 and the Team Championship in Season 4, before we went to Gen 2 with a single car being able to race the whole distance. Now, Season 7, that's the car for the World Championship. Here it is, the Audi e-tron FE07. What a car! Slightly adapted livery, especially more white on the nose, but still the catchy colors of Audi, e-tron, and our technology partner Schaeffler. But this is called a tech talk, so it's not only about the look of the car, the livery of the car. We want to know what's under the carbon fiber bodywork, under the curtain, and therefore we will experience the new powertrain and we will have a look on the new centerpiece, the MGU05, which was designed from scratch for the upcoming World Championship. Therefore, we've got two experts with us today. We have Tristan Summerscale, project leader Formula E at Audi Sport, and we have Stefan Eicher, head of e-drive development at Audi Sport. Tristan, please talk us through the new drivetrain, the rear end, and what parts of development you changed for the new car.
So what we can see here is the main powertrain component assembly that we develop here at Audi Motorsport. Under this all-carbon rear structure, we have basically the beating heart of the new Audi e-tron FE07, and we're calling it the Audi MGU05. But before we go into more detail on that, I'll take a step back and talk about the energy flow through the car as a whole. And that starts in the spec battery that's supplied by McLaren. It has a 52 kilowatt hour energy capacity, and energy is stored there in the form of chemical energy. That is transformed into direct current electrical energy and transferred into this inverter housed in this rear structure. One of the main jobs of the inverter is to change the direct current into alternating current, and that's best used to accurately steer and control the MGU, the electrical motor. When we've created kinetic energy with the electrical motor, then the output RPM is reduced down to a more manageable speed through the carbon housed single speed gearbox. Goes through the differential here at the back and out along the carbon drive shafts that you see here, ultimately propelling the car forward. Now, what's unique about this powertrain is that process can occur in reverse. So kinetic energy harvested under braking is sent back into the powertrain, back into the motor, which then acts as a generator, hence the name motor generator unit. It does two things. And that energy is sent then back into the battery and stored as chemical energy for later in the event. So the three main components, the inverter, the MGU and the gearbox housed in this rear structure, what I find particularly impressive is the tight packaging that has been achieved. If you compare the weight of the MGU and in the inverter, under 35 kilograms to the equivalent power output of a similar internal combustion engine, this is definitely the lighter and more efficient solution. Efficiency in Formula E is absolute key to a successful race, and we try to reduce the energy losses to an absolute minimum. The complete efficiency of this powertrain is over 95%, so quite a remarkable number. And again, comparing to an internal combustion engine powertrain, that's more than double the efficiency. So with the FE07, we've basically left no stone unturned, and we've developed and optimized all these powertrain components to find more speed at the track.
95% efficiency on the overall drivetrain, and even more on the new centerpiece, our MGU05, the heartbeat of the new drivetrain and the unit that will perform and will accelerate the cars of Lucas and René on track for the upcoming season. So Stefan, please talk us through the single steps of development, and especially the difficulties and the improvements that you've been made on the MGU.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity for this premiere. And yes, it is the centerpiece for me of this car. After we had to stop our Le Mans project by end of 2016, Audi reorganized its motorsport program towards electrification by entering the Formula E race series as a manufacturer. And we all know Formula E, with all the manufacturers involved, it's very competitive and on a very high level. For us, it was clear, if we want to remain competitive in the future, we need to do the electrical drive by our own. And we decided we want to do everything by our own and everything in-house. The MGU, the inverter, the software, and as well the build-ups of the system. The first challenge was to build up a performance team. That's a key factor for us. And that's why we spent quite a lot of time forming a team with experienced engineers on the one side and new specialists on the other side, some of them coming from Audi internal trainee programs. At the beginning of this project, we ran through a number of simulation and calculations. And we were not only focused on purely electrical side, we also focused on car performance, because in the end, this is what counts. In the project plan, we ran certain construction stages and really a lot of software version to end up finally with a race specification, as you see here. In addition to the newly created skills on the electric side, we focused a lot of integration, of a maximum degree of integration of the electrical system inside the rear end, including the gearbox and the differential. And this gave us an impressive weight save which we immediately could reinvest in higher levels of efficiency of the MGU and inverter. And now, here it is, the first in-house developed electrical drive for Formula E race series, Season 7. We have a high-speed inner rotor running concept with outside magnets. We have carbon housing on the MGU and on the inverter. We have a high-efficiency cooling system. The total weight of the system is less than 35 kilograms. And in the end, the efficiency is clearly above 97% in each driving relevant areas. Another main point for a successful development like this was our in-house test facility. We spent hours and hours of test on the dynos. Not only matching and evaluating simulation and calculations, we focused a lot immediately on efficiency, on durability and software functionality in order to give our car engineers and the performance engineers an electrical drive on a maximum level of efficiency, reliability and safety. In my long time at Audi Sport Racing, this was one of the most intensive and challenging projects ever. And yes, we had up and downs, but the people involved had the right mindset. They were pushing consistently, concentrated and hard, and make the development come true in more or less than 2 years. The system, for me, is a huge team effort and deserves a big thank you to all involved from Audi Sport Racing and our partners. I'm really proud of them. And now, let's focus on the upcoming race season and keep the fingers crossed for the race season 7 with the first electric drive developed in-house for Formula E.
Thank you for these great insights, Stefan. And Alan and Lucas, no pressure for you at all, huh? The team is watching closely. Now that we've seen the hardware, let us have a look on the software and especially on the energy flow, the energy management and the recuperation in the car. Lucas, how important are those kinds and those aspects for you while driving?
This is one thing that differs a lot from the combustion era driving skills that you needed to achieve. With a full electric powertrain, how precise, how polished your driving style is really has an effect on efficiency of the whole overall package. And to have the overall package good, you need the right hardware, as we've seen, but also you need the right software, and the driver needs to drive operating the software in the right window. So we have lift and coast, we have regenerative braking, we have different settings on the steer that we can change the software, but ultimately is a team effort that we practice on the simulator and many months before that, and you need to be precise on the racetrack at the day of the race.
And then Lucas already mentioned the different kinds of racing, different stati of racing with the regeneration, with the recuperation, with braking, lift and coast. Can you talk us through a little bit the single steps on a racetrack?
Yeah, certainly, Daniel. You know, there's some basic principles. You want to go as fast as you can from A to B, from the start of the race to the end of the race. But if you did that, just wide open throttle, then you wouldn't be able to achieve it. And so therefore you have to think of different systems for the energy flow, as we said. And as you can see here, when the car is driving forward, when Lucas or René is accelerating, then the electrical energy stored in the battery comes through the MGU, the motor generator unit, to the rear wheels and then accelerates the car forward. And then at the same time, the battery energy is being reduced. However, we'd like to put energy back in. Normally, this historically would have been lost energy, but we can do that through lift and coast. At the end of the straights, lifting off, which will then switch the motor into the different, instead of being a motor, it becomes a generator and puts energy back into the battery for use at a later stage coming out of a corner, for example, for better acceleration. And that also happens in hydraulic braking. When you press the brake pedal, it does exactly the same thing. All of these are actually the same on the Audi e-tron as well. But if we take Mexico, that's the circuit with probably one of the highest requirements of energy saving, up to 40%. It also has one of the longest straights. And as you can see on this diagram at the moment, when you get to a green zone, that's lift off and coast regenerative. When you get to a red zone, that is braking regenerative, always putting energy back into the battery. In the little sector we're looking at now, the driver doesn't even have to brake. He can do it by just lift off and coast and then using that energy all the way through the final corner to get to the start and finish line. But Daniel, you know that we've had some fantastic memories in Mexico in the past, some excellent races, and ones that have just showed the requirements of energy efficiency. And, well, I think Lucas has got some good memories of that place as well.
Definitely, and I would say especially the lap in the 5th season, the final lap of the race, that's the one we could prove that a proper preparation can change everything just in the last corner. Lucas, we saw you overtaking the opponents just in the last 3 to 5 meters before the checkered flag falls. How was it in the car? Can you describe the last corners, please?
So happy, but that was due to a long time of preparation, a long time on the simulator, a long time of all the team making the effort of the hardware, software, everything combining to the very small detail that made the difference between winning and losing the race.
I wish you had told us beforehand that you've been preparing it for the whole race. In the garage, we were on tenterhooks because it was so close between having a fantastic victory or second. Both of them would have been good, but that was fantastic.
It's good.
But it proves for us how big the influence of a proper preparation can be. And still now, 2 years after, you remember the race and you get the goosebumps and you feel how big of an influence the whole team can make in preparation, not only within these 45 minutes, but in the whole race and in the whole weeks before the race, preparing and being proper on preparation, especially talking about recuperation, energy management, and prediction of the race. So today in our Tech Talk, we talked a lot about energy management, recuperation, energy flow, the new car, the new hardware. On the next weekend, we go to Valencia for testing, and this will be the last test before the season kicks off in Santiago de Chile in January. So Lucas and Alan, everything ready?
Everything's ready at the moment. We're at the final test, as you said. We've done a lot of preparation, though, in the year up till now to make sure that we've got our new MGU05 and our new car ready. But us as a team, we're looking forward to it. And I'm particularly going to be pleased just to see that car go out onto the circuit along with all the competition before we go to Santiago for the first race.
And we keep the fingers crossed to bring home a lot of trophies and points and maybe even the big one in the end of the season. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. For us, it was a great pleasure and a great opportunity to present you not only the new car delivery, but also lift the curtain and show you a little bit of the secrets under the carbon fiber bonnet. If there are any questions afterwards, please don't hesitate. Give us a call, write an email. And if not, see you somewhere on the racetracks around the world. Stay healthy and take care.